So now at this time, I want to bring up some amazing advocates and patients to speak on the bill. First on the list is Ms. Debbie Tolany, whose son Miles suffers from severe autism and intractable epilepsy. Her son would qualify for the CUP program, but it doesn't provide reliable enough cannabis for it to be effective. Debbie, would you come up and tell your story, please?
Absolutely. Thank you.
Sure, absolutely.
Hi, my name is Debbie Tolany, and I am here today in support of Senator Menendez's whole plant comprehensive medical marijuana bill. I am the mother of a beautiful, nonverbal 13-year-old son named Miles. Miles has racked up a long list of diagnostic labels in his lifetime that make daily life a great challenge for him, for our family, and for the wonderful individuals who teach him here daily in Austin at the Rosedale School. Miles is severely affected by autism, has intractable epilepsy, and a rare endocrine disorder called hypoparathyroid disease. Miles also suffers from intense autoimmune dysfunction, which has resulted in painful gut issues, including enteritis of the small bowel, gastroesophageal reflux disease, ulcerated colitis, and a heavily eroded duodenum. My son is a generally mild-mannered young man who enjoys watching movies and listening to music. But when he is in pain and with little warning to us, he can become frustrated and angry to the point of injury to himself and to us. He uses his fingernails on our skin to tell us something is amiss, and he cannot regulate himself easily. This is also true when we make the rare attempts to take him out into our community. As a result, we rarely do traditional family outings, and when we do, we feel intense guilt over having to leave Miles at home with a caregiver. Miles' body does not metabolize medications in the same way a typically operating body does. When he was first diagnosed with a seizure disorder, his neurologist put him on an anticonvulsant called Depakote. After only 2 weeks on this medication, and not yet at the fully therapeutic dosage, my son had an intense episode that I can only liken to a psychosis. I watched a child with low muscle tone and usually low endurance for physical movement run in frantic circles around my living room for 30 minutes. His face and lips were completely white, and he cried out in pain, looking at me for support, which his body would not allow him to receive. The neurologist had us discontinue this drug immediately. With puberty came grand mal seizures, or tonic-clonic seizures, so intense that he turned blue and aspirated for over a 2 to 4 minute period. We knew that we had to try something to stop these, so we reluctantly began another anticonvulsant drug, Trileptal. On the third day of this drug, and again nowhere near the therapeutic dosage, my son had an intense episode at school where his teacher noted that he jumped onto his desk, he pulled at his hair, and he scratched himself and his aides. Again, we were told to stop the medication immediately. We decided to try one final anticonvulsant, Lamictal. We have had some success with this drug and have chosen to keep him on it until the Compassionate Use Act goes into effect next year. But this drug is also not without its challenges. We had to titrate the dosage to his fully recommended level over a 3-month period. And with every smaller than normal increase, we experienced several days of challenging behaviors, hair pulling, and scratching. I can assure you that when you witness these things in your child, and you know that it is because of the medication that you have given him, you wrestle with many emotions and intense guilt for the suffering that you are causing. The negative behaviors that my son often exhibits as a result of his medical conditions, his lack of ability to speak or communicate, and his body's inability to regulate itself from a sensory perspective would greatly benefit from the use of THC. While CBD is a wonderful treatment option to reduce inflammation caused by autoimmune dysfunction and to assist with some types of seizures, my son needs access to the whole plant to treat his suffering and to help give our family the opportunity to take him out into our community again. Time and time again, we have had medical providers tell us that they have no idea what to do to help a medically complex child like mine. These same providers have only been able to offer us one solution, prescribed antipsychotic drugs like Abilify and Risperidol. These drugs come with enormous detrimental side effects, including dangerous weight gain, damage to the liver, and permanent neurological tics. These are harmful Band-Aids and do nothing to address the physiological sources of my son's pain and suffering. Did you know our federal government holds patent number 6630507? That states that cannabinoids, a term that includes THC as well as CBD and other parts of the cannabis plant, are anticonvulsive, neuroprotective, and useful in the treatment of numerous illnesses. My son, like so many other sons and daughters daughters across our state needs access to safer medicine. The time is here to support the medical legalization of the whole cannabis plant, to help ease the suffering of many like my child across our great state of Texas. I implore you all not just to listen, but to truly hear stories like mine in order to understand why this is so very important. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Debbie.